So big tech is getting bigger and bigger, and now it's getting sneakier and sneakier. Stay with me. All week, we've been pointing out the ways big tech is changing our country. The shadow banning conservative voices, pulling down content from the right's platforms, content that they label as misinformation. In many cases, big tech calls it misinformation simply because they don't agree with it. We had Dr. Robert Malone on the show yesterday, the self-described co-creator of the mRNA COVID drug. He was pulled down from Twitter first and then YouTube. Joe Rogan saw that censorship and invited Dr. Malone on his very, very popular podcast where millions saw an amazing 3-hour interview. That interview was promptly pulled down from YouTube, of course. Senator Rand Paul is fighting back against big tech bias by pulling all his content down from YouTube and moving somewhere else. Senator Paul rightly points out that when we post to these social media sites, we provide them with free content. The best way to fight back is to stop giving our content to these platforms for free. They need your content and my content. That's their only product, sharing content. That's what they do. If they don't have content to share, they don't have a business. Which leads to a bigger question. If these big tech platforms willfully censor one side of the political spectrum's voices, they are unfairly treating one side in favor of the other side. Again, sides being drawn by political leanings. How many liberal voices have been canceled or censored over the last couple of years? I can't name any. On the political right, Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dr. Malone, to name just a few. I lost over 200,000 followers the day Joe Biden was elected, and I continue to lose them, granted at a much slower pace, but I'm not alone. Almost every single media friend of mine on the right, other friends, people on the right will say the same thing. They're being shadow banned, where Twitter, Facebook, and others slow the spread of what would normally be viral posts. They have the ability to do all that because in their terms of service, which we all agree to when we sign up, given that level of unleveled playing field, so we should all push back on what I call the big secret. And the big secret is that these big tech companies enjoy firewall protections against litigation that other media companies don't have. There are protections against publishing libelous material. If you're conservative on Twitter, I'm pretty sure you've been libeled. But since big tech has a firewall against being held liable, you won't be able to sue them if, say, the New York Times, however, published the exact same content as those libelous tweets that are being published. You could sue the daylights out of the New York Times and you'd likely win. See the difference? So allow me to expose the way that big tech is undermining our ability to hold them accountable. Think about this for a second. There are many sources for political news in America. I would say the top 3 newsletters, which I define as news you sign up for and it's delivered into your email inbox every morning, that would be a newsletter. So Political Playbook is the biggest, clearly. Axios would be second. Third, by the way, Axios is run by a friend of mine, Mike Allen. He started it. Mike's a well-connected DC journalist who actually started the Political Playbook in 2007, started his own Axios after that. And third is Punchbowl, which came about as the former editors of Political Playbook, Jake Sherman and Anna Palmer. They left Politico to start their own political newsletter. So those are all 3 very well-connected newsletters and very well-connected journalists who have a pulse on the doings of the DC swamp. These are extremely widely read newsletters, so they have a ton of political sway. I read all 3 of these newsletters every single morning religiously. They're chock full with insights that I need to produce this show day in and day out. I also know, they may disagree, but I also know they all tend to lean left in their own politics. I've been around long enough to know which political party you lean towards when you're writing, even if you're a so-called straight journalist. I'm sure they'll say that their personal political leanings never make it into the newsletters. I trust they believe that. I hope they're right. But I noticed something that raised some red flags for me recently. Look who's sponsoring these political newsletters. Over at Political Playbook, check this out. Facebook is a very regular daily sponsor. So are Google and Amazon. 3 big tech giants sponsoring the most popular political newsletter in America. Over at Axios, check it out. There's Facebook and Google. Wow. Over at Punchbowl, Sure, there's Facebook, but also this one caught my attention. The American Edge Project is a fairly regular sponsor lately. So I did a little digging and found that the American Edge Project has an interesting mission statement right on their front page to, quote, to tell the story about the positive impact technology has on America. Okay, one step deeper into the American Edge Project, I found their major sponsor is, wait for it, Facebook. So there it is in my morning inbox from the 3 most influential political newsletters, all being sponsored by the biggest of big tech giants. I just hope, beyond hope, the guys and gals, literally friends and colleagues of mine, aren't leaning on the scales of journalism and giving these big tech giants, Facebook, Google, Amazon, the American Edge Project, and others, literally their bread and butter. I hope my friends don't press their thumbs on the scales of unbiased journalism in favor of these big tech companies who I know are deliberately being biased in how their product is delivered and is accessible. I know for a fact those same sponsors, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, are most definitely delivering a biased and unfair product. But I get it. Their money isn't red or blue, it's green. And Political Playbook, Axios, and Punchbowl likely need those dollars to survive. Perhaps all I need to do is to put it through what I get in the morning, put it through the bias filter before I consume it. I'm not sure if there's enough of a meal after that, though. One final thought, I'm a member of the White House Correspondents Association, and I value that membership, as are the editors of those newsletters I just mentioned. So let's see if I'm still invited to the members' fishing trip this year. Just kidding. I am a member of the White House Correspondents Association. We just don't have a members' fishing trip, but maybe we should.